When you see a successful business, they don't just come by because someone wishes to succeed. They are products of a lot of things that went into the business. And on this podcast, we want to tell you the stories of the principles followed to get to where they are, stories of the challenges they faced, stories of the wins that they've won along the way. We want to show you that way that leads to success, the business way. And I am your host, Ayobami. Today, we have the privilege of hosting a serial entrepreneur, someone that has made mark in different industries. We have with us today Ladi Awotinde, who has made a lot of impact in construction, in manufacturing, and in agriculture. It's a pleasure to have you here today with us, Mr. Ladi.
Thank you so much, Ayobami. It's my utmost pleasure to be on the trail. It's very exciting for me, and I'm looking forward to have a very robust conversation with you as we continue this conversation. By the way, my surname is Awotinde.
Awotinde. Oh, thank you
Yeah.
so much for that correction, Mr. Ladi Awotinde. So, while I was preparing for this conversation, I discovered that you spent the first few years of your life in on a farm settlement, about 11 kilometers away from civilization. How would you say those early years helped you from becoming that farm boy to this serial entrepreneur that we know today?
Okay, so to start with, I don't know who you call a serial entrepreneur anyway, because we are very much a work in progress. And by the way, I'm a guy with so many things wrapped together in me. Yeah, I started as an entrepreneur. In the last couple of years, I do something else while I still keep the business running. So I'm sure you will understand, and I think we can expatiate on that as we make progress in this conversation. So. Um, I have a very interesting upbringing. I was born and raised by parents who never had any form of formal education. And uh, where I was born is a thorough farm settlement. So it's somewhere in Ife. And we only come to the city like once in a month. And that's the month
Wow.
end. That's the month end. Anyway, we come to the city once in a month. And my dad, who is a farmer, and my mom, God rest her soul. She's the
Amen.
woman that I call um, the best way I describe my mom is I call her 10 men wrapped up in one woman. So she's an astute business person who could do anything to to make money in terms of being creative. She's got several kind of business. She does food vending. She sells she sells palm oil. She takes palm oil from Ife every Wednesday. So there's a market in Shaki somewhere in Oyo State. Shaki they used to cook with shea butter. They don't have a lot of palm oil, so
Palm oil.
they take palm oil largely from Osun State. So my mom trades in palm oil. Then they do the market once a week, which is every Thursday. So she goes to Saki every Wednesday. Market is on Thursday. She takes palm oil. Then when she's coming back, she comes back with yam flour, which we call it issue, yam flour, and the smelted pot. That's ikokoiri.
Ikukorin.
So both are produced in abundance in Shaki. So she takes palm oil from Ife, which is produced in abundance, which she buys from the villages, and she off takes from the farmers and those who makes them, then takes them to Shaki on Thursday. When she's coming back, she comes back with yam flour and the pot. So she sells that when she gets here, turn the money around and buy palm oil again and take that while still running a local canteen somewhere. And
Yeah.
And she's not that she did that quite for a very long time. So that kind of tells you the kind of environment that
that you grew up in.
I was raised. There was business everywhere. Almost every day is business, and there's transaction at almost every level in a little way that we are. But we understood the value of hard work. We understood the value of doggedness, the value of not giving up, the tenacity, the strength of always knowing that when you put things to when you activate things, system works. So we were raised very much like that. So growing up, that kind of set the foundation for me. And there's a very good Yoruba proverb that I always recite every time, and I tell it to everybody. Yoruba will say, "Iṣẹ́ ọmọ aláṣẹ jẹ, òwò ọmọ aláṣẹ là." So
Yeah.
it means when you work, like you're an employee or kind of a thing, you can only feed yourself largely. So
Yeah.
when you want to be wealthy, you need to do business.
Wow.
So
That's deep.
yes, that's what Yoruba say. "Iṣẹ́ ọmọ aláṣẹ jẹ, òwò ọmọ aláṣẹ là." We often say it. Most time we really do not understand the meaning.
What it
So
means.
what it means. So, but I understood that very much, especially at a very young age. So uh then went into school, went to secondary school, later went to School of Science where we met.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. So so that kind of lay foundation for who I am as a person, what my beliefs are, what my values are. I believe the hand works what the eye sees. So
Yeah.
I believe in value curation. I believe in doing things. Wealth is an exchange of value. When you offer value, then value is paid back to you. So that kind
That's
of
true.
set my foundation, and that has nothing to do with geography, demography, or location or anything. It's just values, and I think that kind of help in things that I do, and
Yeah.
that makes me who I am today. I'm still work in progress anyway. So
So, like you said, we met in school, like in 1995. That's like a lot of years ago. We met in school back in 1995, and you went on to higher education and all that. Would you say it was the passion that you have to start these businesses that
thank you for
guided
that.
you
So
into the kind
it
of
seems like what
course
I'm
that you
hearing you
studied in
say
school,
is
or was it the
mostly this
courses
is
that you
about
studied,
the kind of education
like
that you
this,
got
the profession, the
from
course you
everywhere you
studied in
got
school
education
that
from,
led
especially
you
from your parents.
into the kind of
And
businesses you
that
went
brings
that
up
you've gone into?
another that's a
Angle for
very
me.
interesting question. I mean, you mentioned passion. Passion is very good, but I read a book long time ago. Was it John Maxwell or something who wrote a book called Passion Not Enough? So passion is good, but you asked me a very interesting question on why I chose what I read and all of that. So, and I'll tell you a very interesting story. So while we were growing up, we only visit OAU campus once in a year, and that is 1st of January every year.
Wow.
So I have a senior nephew, who I have a senior cousin who takes us out. So when we come from the village and we come to the city at the end of the year, we call it Ile Odun.
Benny.
So when you come to Ile Odun, you probably come like December 28, 29, and you want to do Odunla. Usually
Odunla.
Christmas is celebrated in the village, then New Year is celebrated in the city. That's the
Christmas
way it
is the
was.
Odun Kekere.
Yes, that's Odukekere. So we go to OAU campus once in a year largely, and we visit the zoo. The zoological garden was very active, was very big then. You have to save this money from like August to make sure that you're able to make those trips and to then from Lagere to OAU was about 1 naira, 1 naira thereabout.
Yep.
That's about 1 naira 50 kobo or so. So we go to the zoological garden, then we go to the Natural History Museum. So every time we go to OAU and we're about to go to the zoological garden, there is a building by social sciences that has an architecture that forms like a V shape, like a boat shape, like this. I
Yep.
don't know if you remember very well. It's just by the road opposite the zoological garden.
Yeah.
So when I was growing up, that building got me fascinated. And I was like, this house want to I said, this house is about to collapse just because the
Of the
way
V
it
shape.
is. Yes. So, but the following year when I go again, I say, but ilé yóò ti wó, that this house is yet to
It's
collapse.
not falling.
Yeah, I mean, I was like 11 or there about 11, 12, 11, 10, because by 12 I was already in St. John's Grammar School. So then I could go to the campus. So as I grew up, I got to understand that, okay, that was actually the design. And that was what sowed interest. That was the background for my interest in construction. So while I was about to go to uni, obviously I applied for civil engineering. You wrote first jam, second jam, third jam. You didn't get
Wow.
admitted. And you know, if you go to School of Science, when we went there, you will never think of going to the Polytechnic. That will never be part of your options. You're not likely to be interested in that. So
Yep.
obviously I wasn't, and it wasn't the time that you do one jam, it was jam and poly jam. So I
Wow.
never ever applied for poly jam. So when I wrote the third jam, my brother now advised and said, "Oh boy, are you not going to write poly jam?"
Jam like this.
So so I applied and I found myself in Federal Polytechnic there. So apparently I chose civil engineering, but there was no offering civil engineering. So I applied for building. So that's why I studied building, and I kind of go and progress like that. Went to Yaba Tech to do my HND in building. Then after then I applied to Federal University of Mina to actually convert my direct entry, because then you can actually move from building to civil engineering. So
Oh,
I applied, and when I went to the school, I went to see one professor, and he was talking to me. Oh, your list is not out, because they didn't get my transcript on time, so I had to go get my transcript in Abuja and took it to Mina. So I was talking to the prof, and the prof said, "Oh, you read building in your national diploma?" I said, "Yes." He said, "So we have building here." I said, "Yes, I know. So why don't you want to do building?" I said, "No, I want civil engineering. I've always wanted civil engineering." He said, "No, go and change to building."
oh.
Yes, if you can't change to building, then don't come back to my office. You should go to building. I said, "No, you can't tell me what to do."
What to do?
So
I came here for
I
civil
was
and
really,
civil I'm
really pissed.
getting.
I was really, really pissed off. I was really annoyed. Then I said, "Okay." I was gonna go back to Abuja. I was in Lagos. I started my IT. I was doing my IT with Jide Taiwan and Co. But I was to stop over in Abuja for a week. So I went back to Abuja. And on my way to Lagos, I said to myself that, well, I've attended a couple of Nigerian Institute of Buildings program, and I've seen a lot of people who graduated from Yaba Tech, and they seems to be doing exceedingly well in the industry. So why do I actually want to come to this bush? So I went back, and when I got back to Lagos, I applied for my HND, because I never wanted to do HND. So I just went to apply for my HND. So when I got to Yaba said they closed form because they're no longer selling. So I said, okay, fine. I went to Ilaro. I took Ilaro's form. Then the
Wow.
following week, Yaba called me and said, oh, they opened for 1 week. So I went back to Yaba to apply, dropped the Ilaro form, because I mean, I didn't want to go back to Ede. I never wanted to do ND and HND in the
At the
same
same
location. If
place.
I have to, I'm propelled to see what my environment offers, and let me see what I can learn from different locations. And I can tell you that decision I'll never regret. I don't think I can ever regret. I can ever regret that kind of decision. So I went to Yaba, and Yaba applied. The following week, the name came out. I went there. They said, "Oh, admission list is out." I went there. My name was number 8, and I found myself in Yaba. So after, when I was about graduating from Yaba, and I said from Yaba Tech, and I said to myself that this idea of people thinking if you go to Polytechnic and you have an HND, you're lesser in intelligence to people who go to the university. I said, no, that's not my case. I don't think anybody in the university is sharper than me. I mean, people are much more intelligent than me, but I have more than what it takes to go to the university. It's just the way circumstances has propelled me. So I said, okay,
Yeah.
I was going to go back. Then by then, I have had a plan to live in Abuja.
Okay.
So all those time, I was thinking the best place I wanted to work was Julius Berger. I love Julius Berger to death.
JB.
Yes, JB. But when I was in Ede, I was elected the president of the department. And that was during Obasanjo's time. Obasanjo was building Abuja Stadium and the Game Village to host the Commonwealth Games.
Yep, that's true.
So that was the biggest infrastructural project in Nigeria as at that time. So I'd planned to take my students, I mean, the department, to the project to see what we're doing. So as the president, I had to go ahead of time to see what the site is, drop letters. It wasn't the days of emails and phones and all of that. So I had to travel from Ede to Abuja to drop letter to tell them we want to come for excursion. So while I got to the site, the Abuja Stadium, they asked me to go to the head office. So I went to Berger. As I was approaching Berger, then I saw a very huge signage. I mean, when I say huge, I mean huge, something like 10 foot, almost like 8
like
foot by 4 foot, billboard by the side, and the road, no employment now, please keep off.
Wow.
That was 2002. It was like I had a spiritual encounter. I was struck like a thunder. I was frozen. And my head, I didn't know what was going through my head. The company had wanted to work all my life. And I see that if they could have a signage this big, then the problem is big.
That's true. And you had not even gone there to like apply for
not
job.
Look for job. No, I was just to submit that letter. But I was excited. I finally, I'm going to walk through an office that I've always wanted to work. Maybe in the next couple of years, I'm going to be here. And I haven't been raised from a very humble background. And I said to myself, who is going to write a note for me? Who is going to make that call? So it looks like you can't naturally get in here. Merit is not enough. Desire to be part of this beautiful organization is not enough.
No.
You might need to have somebody to walk you through the door. And I wasn't that privileged to have that kind of background. So I was struck. But that day, I decided that I need to start thinking of something else. That was the day I became an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
I had the destination in mind. I had no understanding of the pathway to get there. But from that point, I kept it in my head. So fast forward, when I was graduating from Yaba, I reapplied to University of Abuja because that excursion showed me that Abuja was a massive construction project, construction site. So I said, there's no better place to be than to live in Abuja. So while I said I will live in Abuja, I understand that I might not be very busy. So I applied to University of Abuja, direct entry. Say, I will get this the BSc. It doesn't mean anything. I'll get it. Mm-hmm. So when I got there, they had no engineering department in the year. They had civil engineering a year after me or so. So I was admitted to computer science. I actually applied for computer science. They admitted me to mathematics and statistics. I said, no, that's failure. I can't even do that. And I had options. So it wasn't like I was desperate for admission. I was already a graduate. I was already a graduate waiting to go for youth service. So I was almost a graduate. So eventually they changed it. They put me in computer science. So I was running my final semester in Yaba as a building student, HND2, about to graduate, and a first semester in Abuja. Meanwhile, every direct entry in Abuja then starts from 100 level. It was the year after us that they start from 200 level.
200.
Or direct entry, IGMB, they take every direct entry to 100 level. So I joined computer science 100 level. I started doing chemistry, physics, maths, and all of that. Me that I was already graduating. So I was running 2 full-time programs, different
in Lagos and
departments,
Abuja.
different discipline entirely. Lagos and Abuja. So I would do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in Yaba. By 4, I will be at Jibowu. I'll take the night bus to Abuja. By 8 a.m. in the morning, I'm already in class in University of Abuja. I will do Thursday, Friday in University of Abuja. I will use Saturday, Sunday to cover up from whatever they taught from Monday till Wednesday, do photocopies, read up. By Sunday night, I'll take the
Way back.
night bus, Ekenedili Chukwu. I'll take it from Abuja to Lagos. So Monday morning, I'm in class. And I did that for 1 full semester. So eventually, I went back to Abuja, resuming full, delayed my service. I did 100 level, I did 200 level. Then 2009, I came home for Christmas, came to Lagos for Christmas. In 2 years, I made 18,500 in Abuja. And my rent was almost 100,000.
Wow.
And I stopped collecting money from my parents first semester HND1. So I've been financing myself from second semester to my HND2 to my every year in Abuja. I self-finance, I self-fund myself because I was working. So I was running 2 programs full-time. I was working.
You were working.
So I was doing part-time also.
Okay, with a company.
No, so it's very interesting. I run like a consultancy services. So that's why I said I didn't regret that decision. So while I was going to HND2, I met a CEO of a company who sells building appliances in Nigeria. It was seconded to Nigeria from China. So this guy I met, then we had conversation and so you guys have potential. So he gave me a job to do for him. That was the first private job that I had to do. It was a good job. It was a remodeling project in Lekki. So he's a man who happens to be my longtime friend. He was quite instrumental to my almost substantial part of what I become in life. So we spoke and he said, when I finished that job, and he said, you can actually do a lot of things. Things that you have done for me here, we have that problem in my office. When we sell product, the problem is after sales service. They don't have people to install for them. They don't have people to take them through. They don't have people to call when they have the product. And that's why they don't want to buy a product, because it's largely South African design, which are Europe spec. So they used to what is common and say, oh no, this one we don't know it. And so we have better product, but because we don't have after sales support. So can you kind of fill that gap for us? I said, yes. So when they sell every appliances, they sell a cooker, they sell a oven, they sell this, they call me to install. Lagos, Oyo State, Ondo State, Delta, Edo, anyway, Abuja, they called me to install, and I was a student.
So and after that, you took on Abuja as well, and you were doing that along as well.
So I was. So it's very interesting because in 2009, I remember very well. In 2009, I was still in University of Abuja. I had a meeting with this guy 1 p.m. in Lagos. I was committed to have another meeting in Benin by 3 p.m. And I was to write a test in Abuja 8 a.m. the following morning. 2009. And I flew from Lagos. I flew from Abuja to Lagos, finished my meeting. It was somewhere around Darling of Adeni Jones. Took a cab to the airport, flew to Benin, did my meeting in Benin, went back to the airport, flew to Abuja. The following morning, I was in class writing tests. That was 2009. 16 years ago.
That's amazing.
I was at that level and I was a student. So when I came to Lagos in 2009 for Christmas, and I asked myself, I was just in my room, I just woke up. I mean, it was almost a New Year time, and I was like running myself and let me appraise my life. Then I asked myself three questions. Do I want to move away from construction to IT? The answer was a no.
No.
Do I want to stop being an entrepreneur and be an employee because that's where your certificate may count? The answer was a no.
No.
The third question is, what the heck are you doing in Abuja?
In Abuja.
And I was the only one who could answer that question. And I said, I don't even know. And December 2009, I went to see my brother and I told him, I'm not going back to Abuja. And my decision wasn't because I was self-funding myself. It wasn't like, you want to go and you want to waste my money, all the money I paid for school fees. And this is a guy that is very thorough in education and all of that. He's a brother, but he's more like a father. And I said to him, I'm not going back. He said, have you thought about it? Because as at that point, he has built confidence in my capability to take decision making. I said, yes, I've thought about it. The math is not matching. I'm not going. So I left. A lot of my friends didn't like it. I didn't even go back. My friend, she has to send my books to me in Lagos. My rent was to last till August. I asked her to move to the apartment if she wants. So I didn't go back. So I stayed back and faced business squarely because I was really making money as at that time. People were calling me left, right, and center. So, and I was just a young guy. I haven't gone for youth service. Because I was in school, so that was delayed. I was in another school, that was delayed. So I came back and I said, it's time to go for youth service. So I reapplied. I went back to youth service. I was working. So when I came back, finished service, and I said to myself, I need to challenge my brain mentally. So I applied to Federal University of Technology, Akure. I did my postgraduate diploma in construction management. So I came back. I finished 2012. So in 2016, I was invited for a program at Covenant University. They call it Town and Gown, where they bring experts in the industry experts,
they bring them into the academic
industry
setting.
experts to come and speak to students to tell them the prospect and whatever they can get when they get out of school. So I was invited to their building department. I spoke to the building department of Covenant University, all of them from 100 to 500 level. So it was a very interesting conversation. When I finished, one of the professors was walking me to my car and he said to me, I said, I saw your profile. I said, yes, sir, you're doing your master's at Roehampton. Then I applied to Roehampton to do an online master's in project management.
Yeah.
I said, yes. Said that online? I said, yes, okay. Why don't you come here? I said, no, Covenant University. No, I can't come to Covenant. And they said, why not? I said, I don't want to be wearing tie every day. He said, no, that's for undergraduate. I said, well, I'm a businessman. I'm busy. I have to pick my call. You guys don't allow your students to use phone. He said, no, that's undergraduates. You can use a phone. I said, Ota is too far. He said, well, you are doing in UK. So why is Ota too far? So, and I said, then he looked at me and said, Mr. Ladi, I said, yes. He said, we'll be grateful if you have someone like you in our university. It will be an inspiration. The kids love your presentation. It will be an honor to have you here. I said, I'll think about it. So from that point, he kept following me up. Oh, our farm will open in 2 weeks. It will open next week. So when he open, he's going to close in 1 month. It will close in 3 weeks. It will close in 2 weeks. So when it was a week to the closures, I applied. So I eventually was admitted to Covenant in 2016, where I had my master's in construction management in 2018. So it's been like so many things.
A lot of schooling.
I hope I didn't take over your interview.
No. I actually appreciate you taking us all that history line, because now a lot of our viewers are going to see that it's not just like you just wake up and everything just become like let there be light and there was light.
No,
There was a back process. There are things that were the foundation of where you are today. And
absolutely. Absolutely. So when I did work for that guy in 2006, the man from China is a Nigerian, actually, a very phenomenal and a super brilliant man, very prudent, go-getter, very smart. I learned a lot from him. He became my very personal friend over time, and we were quite close.
the question
And
that I want
what
to
I
ask
see is,
you
so eventually,
about
he was a product
the path
design
that you've taken educationally
he was
is
a
that
product design
would you say
manager
that really
for one of the
impacted your
largest kitchen appliances
the
manufacturer in the
way you
world,
do
Frankie.
business or not?
Frankie is
Yeah.
a Swiss company, but they run a factory also. They have factory in Switzerland and they have in China and also in South Africa. So he was in China. So when he was coming to Nigeria, he came with a lot of his product, up, sink, and all of that. So when I was making the renovation for him at his home, so he told me, he said, at the kitchen, you're gonna do fitted kitchen for me. I said, what? He said fitted kitchen. I said, what is that? So you don't know? He said, I don't want those kitchens that you guys do that you set blocks and cast the top and all of that. I said, no, that's not
Yeah.
what I want. He said, I came in with my product and I want them to fit in. I said, so they can fit in. He said, no, they can't fit in until you build to spec. I said, what do you mean spec? He said, spec. So he showed me his products. Then I went online to check fitted kitchen. I started seeing how beautiful kitchens could actually look. I said, really? Kitchens are this nice? I said, yeah. So I did a lot of research and I went back to him and I said, yeah, we'll do it. And 2006, that was the first kitchen I ever built. So we did kitchens, then we did 4 wardrobes closet for him. It wasn't like super perfect, but that was the first. And that point, I said to myself that I wasn't going to be a regular builder who just build a house. I just want to major here. So when I picked that, coupled with the fact that it brought me into the company to become like a supply, a service
And after
backup,
service.
installer, and all of that, installation consultant, and all of that, it really helps. And they were selling high profile product. They were selling to high end in the market, in the Lagos market. So I end up finding myself in places like Nakontan, Banana Island, Northern Foreshore, Lekki, Ikoyi, Oniru. So those are people I deal with. I don't deal with people from Agege and all of that. So for me, that was like, oh, really? Life is good. So what I'm saying is, I'll give you an instance. A client bought 2 wood extractor. I insisted that he need them installed. So the guy that I work with had gone on vacation because it was a day to Easter.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, I will come install them for you. So while I got there, someone could have just held the appliances while the other guy just picked the point and drill. But because it was only me, so I have to measure. And it wasn't like an environment where in the abroad, you can just set your laser, you pick your point and know how to,
Yeah.
you have to really mark your point one by one. So I have to sketch the hood on the wall, pick the point and all of that. So when I finished the first one, I was about doing the second one. So the man asked them to call me. So I went to see him and he said, what do you do? I said, well, I sell appliances, I install appliances. He said, no. He said, what do you do? I said, well, I can sell for you, I can do man. He said, no, that is not. I said, what do you do? I said, well, I'm a train builder, but I chose kitchen. He said, exactly what I'm talking about. He said,
About.
those who do this thing, don't do it like this. You read behind your own. So we spoke about it, and he said, and he gave me an address. He said, go to Lekki Phase 1, go to this street. He said, the 2 most beautiful houses on that street belong to me. He said, go measure the kitchen and all the furniture that you need there and send me the quote. So that's where education began to reflect in things that we do because we just do not work like carpenters, like cabinet makers. there is foundation. And besides, when you go to site, the fact that you can give advice to your client on position, because we do end to end, where we just, you give us a open space, you come back to cook. It is not,
Yeah.
oh, me, I finished cabinet, call the plumber. Oh, I've called the call electrician. No, we do all inclusive. You just come back, you run your tap, it works. You on your gas, it burns, it's connected. You power on your oven, you are ready to grill. You set your microwave, you're ready to warm. That was the service we were providing. And the fact that when we go into this space, I was able to kind of, I have input, I can advise on color for different things that are not really within what I'm offering, but because I've got a background in construction, that makes it solid. And they can ask me questions, ask for my ideas on how to get things done. So that kind of helped a lot, because people have confidence in the kind of advice that you provide for them. They see a lot of value. They can ask you as many questions as they want. So for me, that was a lot of added value.
Okay, so at what point would you say you realize that this is really a big, this business could be bigger than what it is, and I have to scale?
Okay, it's actually two ways. So when I graduated from Yaba, I decided, okay, I was going to run my business. So I'd incorporated my company before I graduated.
Wow.
But it was just company license on paper to do business. There was no office, nowhere. It was my house. Not even my house. I was living with my brothers. I just had a room to myself. So I just bought a computer, bought a printer. That was what I did. So I can do my
That was
code. I
the
can do all of
office.
that. Yes, that's what I was doing. So I kind of said to myself, if I can make X amount in a month working for myself, that value was like half of the value an average graduate would take. And I said, I can sow the remaining to my future as a deferred gratification, like a deferred money. So it will be an investment into the future. So I kind of say for 3 years, I was going to run it. Let's see what it's going to look like. But I was really, really prepared to be rough. But after the first 6 months, I had made what I was supposed to make in 3 years based on my salary calculation.
Oh, interesting.
In 6 months. So at that point, I knew right that I was doing the right thing and this was not going to change. So moving to scaling, by the time we started getting bigger, I was working from a place off Awolowo way. So I needed to increase the quality of work that we do. And that means that we need to invest in equipment.
Yes.
So I was able to raise funds, then put all the equipment that I needed. I put an order to China. Then all the equipment, there are like 6 different equipment, then we shipped. As at the time the equipment arrived, we do not have a space to even install one out of the 5 equipment, because the space we're using is so small that I cannot even install one of the machine.
You were out of your brother's place
I
by
was
then, right?
already out of my brother's house then. That was,
Okay,
of course,
because
this was
definitely
2014. So I left my brother's house 2009, July 17 was on my birthday. So in 2014, I was living in Adeni Jones. That's also interesting because I was running a home office. Then I was selling appliances. It was a 2-bedroom apartment. I kept one was for storage. When people call, they want to buy. So I moved from servicing people to selling. Then when they want to buy, Nigerians will tell you, we need to see. I'll tell them, if you want to see, you're coming to my
Goni ya
house.
Fiji.
You're coming to my house. And I was living out off Adeni Jones, very beautiful location. So it was a bragging right for me. So once you come, sir, you pay me more. Otherwise, I do delivery. I bring to your doorstep. Delivery cost is factored into your cost. So that was the way I was operating. If you insist, we pick the nearest restaurant, then we'll see, we meet, we chat. If you don't want to come to the house, that was what I was doing. I was single, I had a whole space for myself. It was decent enough to host people. So I really had no issue. So when the equipment came, I had to put them in my brother's yard, pending the time I was able to get a space.
Yeah.
Then at the end of the day, I got a space. Even at that time, we couldn't scale, but because of course you need capital to scale up. And when the money come in trickles, you have to prioritize where you put it. So we had to get an advance. Is that we call it an advance invoice? We got paid for a job we have not done
Oh,
before the job happened. So I had to address this guy and said, it takes you 3 weeks to get your job. I had an equipment that's going to make you 1 week. They said, oh, that's good. I said, no, but it's not good. I can't install it because I don't have a space. So, okay, what do we need to do for you? I said, can you advance me for a job that we will do in future? And they said, okay, I should let them know what I need. So I made that proposal to them. They paid. I started. I was thinking I was just going to build a shed, but I ended up building a properly factory built, a proper standard factory. Somewhere in Lekki, and that was a big scale. A lot of people also were part of that process that made it happen. So we leaned on quite a lot, took a lot of leverage, a lot of goodwill. People help, a lot of people assist. Most of the things that we achieved, it was not because me, I was super smart or something. There's a lot of grace, and people who believe in me also stood up to support. So that was great.
yeah, that's one of the things that I find interesting in the fact that your factory was located in Lekki. I know that the real estate around that place is prime, and a lot of people will think about maybe having their factory in somewhere that's not so expensive, and maybe have a showroom in Lekki, but then you have like your factory and warehouse located in Lekki, and that's something that was like amazing to me.
There's a story behind that too. So when we're looking for a place, the advanced invoicing was to build the factory, but when we're looking for a space, so we went to Ekpe.
Okay.
So we acquired an acre of land in Ekpe. So I took my mentor to the place to see. No, we drove down. So when we got there, we looked at it to say, yeah, it's nice, it's beautiful, it's big, and all of that. So when we're going back and said, Ladi, you live in Ikeja? I said, yes, sir. He said, Adeni Jones. I said, yes, sir. He said, do you think it is visible to live in Ikeja and run a factory in Ekpe?
In
I said, I'll do it, even if it takes me to drive 2 hours. And he said, no, it's not realistic. He said, are
I've
you
schooled in
moving?
Abuja and Lagos together at a
Yeah, I
point. I
said,
can
I
do
can
it.
do it. No, I'll leave in the morning. I move at night. He said, this is far. He said, I mean, this is by chance one of the most impactful human being I've met in my life. Is not related to me in any way. He doesn't even speak my local language. Is from a different ethnic tribe, but he's one of the most amazing human being that I have ever met. I mean, now we're like super friend. He's much more older. He calls me his friend. I mean, I call him daddy sometimes because he's just like a father to me, to be
Yeah.
honest. So I said, no, that it's far. I know you put money here. I said, sir, I'll do it. I'll do it. He said, you know what? There's a place I'll take you to. Let me know if it works for you. I said, okay, when do you want us to go? He said, we can go there anytime. So we went to this place where the factory is built. And we look at it. I said, I can't afford this place. He said, well, I've not paid for it. If you like it, I'll pay for it. Then you can pay me
Back.
back when you have the money. So, but when I got there, I knew this is it. I told him, today I'm ready. So I told him, today I'm ready. So when we started the transaction, sometimes in May, 4th of June, we went to site to do site clearing, 4th of June. November 13, 2000 November 13, 2014. We started November, we did site clearing 4th of June, 2014. November 13, 2014, we started production.
Oh,
The rest, they say, is history.
history.
Yeah.
I must say that you are very good with dates and numbers. You just keep bringing exact specific dates and numbers. You keep bringing them
No,
up.
it's a process, Ayobami. If you go through that process, all those challenges, you solve them, you can't forget. It's not because I'm smart, it's because the
The
process.
dates will be smart, will
If
be
you go
stamped
through
on
the
you.
process, you can't forget.
Yeah. So, the reason why we're having this chat is because we want to help people who look up to this generation, who look up to you, to like understand what the journey has been and how that can help them to guide their own business journey. In some of the things that you've said today, you keep talking about this person advised me on that. This person is my friend. This person is my brother. This person is like a daddy to me. What will you say the role of what will you say about the role of mentors in doing business?
80%. 80%
Mm.
minimum. I was I will be an ingrate today if I think whatever I've been able, I've managed to achieve is because of strategy or planning. Mm. I was fortunate at a very young age to have people who are much older, who are more experienced, who are much more successful. I have a lot of them that guided me. So I made very minimum mistakes. Not that I didn't make mistakes, but I made very
They were
minimum mistake
minimal.
because
Yeah.
I was learning from a lot of people. I was very fortunate. Mentorship is an integral part of my life. Mentorship is an integral part of almost everything I've done. Even what I do now, I mean, today I work as I do yes, I do run business in Nigeria. I do own businesses, but I work as a project manager in Canada. Despite my age and all of that, when I got this, I went to see one of my mentors. So I asked him, no, no, I can't do this, I can't do this because my family has been here for some time. So I come here 3 times a year. So and it's kind of tough because I have a flourishing business in Nigeria. So it wasn't like I was pressed to the corner and I had no option.
I
I
had
had a
to.
flourishing business. I actually have flourishing businesses, to be honest, in Nigeria. And
And that's
I was very engaged. I was busy. I had community activities that I do. I was never idle. I do not 24 hours was never enough for me. So when family polling started, it was kind of very tough. And I have young kids that you want your kids to know you.
that's right.
You want them to do as you do, not just do as you say. So it becomes difficult sometimes to achieve that when you're far away. So when I come, I spend 2 months, sometimes 1 month, sometimes 6 weeks. When I'm going back in the house, is crying, kids are always crying, like, don't go, this and that.
Yeah,
You know, at that point, money won't be the most important thing to you.
that's
I
right.
mean, for those who cannot value family.
Yeah.
So I went to see my mentor. Despite my age, as you think I figured out everything, I used to advise a lot of people, but you find
Yeah.
yourself also in a situation where you need people to guide you. So I painted all the scenario for him, and I told him, I said, this and that, this and that. He's a retired bank executive. The wife is a bank executive, top bank executive, the two of them. So I went to tell him, this and that, no painted this. I mean, this is somebody who knows almost everything that I do on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So I said, what do you think? He said, take it. I said, no, you can't tell me to take it. That we don't go on a direction without analyzing it. Say, no, Ladi, this one, if you analyze it, it's analysis paralysis. So I said, okay, no, I wasn't satisfied. So the second day I went to see the wife, who I have tremendous respect for. They are both super smart. So I told the wife and I said, mommy, how are you? I called the wife mommy. So I said, mommy, how are you? This and that. I said, me and daddy, we had a chat yesterday and I wasn't very, he said, what do you mean? Your daddy told me you have an offer somewhere else. I will take you close to your family. I said that, the only reason I've not complained all this while is because I trust you. Otherwise, I don't know what you're doing. Is it business?
Right.
That can wait. He said, don't ask me whether you should take it or not. I thought you have taken it. So what I'm saying is mentorship, and I do not regret it. Yoruba will say what nǹkan tọ́mọdé ò rí lórí igi ìrókò àgbàlagbà máa rí níbi tó jókòó sí.
That's true.
What a small child does not see is standing on top of a roko tree. An elderly man will see it where he's seated. So that is simply called experience.
That's true.
That's a pure definition of experience. And when you ask questions, you learn from people who have the experience, who have gone before you. I think you make very minimal mistakes. So mentorship for me is key.
Thank you. So there's so many things that I want to ask follow-up questions about, but then I'll be like, if I ask that, then we won't get the chance to talk about this.
Ask me anything.
I really like to talk about your venture into agriculture and all that. But riding on this last thing that you said, I wanted to bring in the perspective of being in the diaspora and being in Nigeria. And the other question I wanted to ask around that is, where do you stand in the debate about producing for local consumption and producing for export? Especially because earlier on you talked about your mom who runs a business, takes things from Ife to Shaki, and then brings things from Shaki back to Ife. And I know that there's a lot of talk going around about when we import things into Nigeria, most of the time the ships go back empty because we don't have things to put back on the ship.
Yep.
But also there's the side of people that say we don't even have enough in Nigeria. Why are we thinking about exporting out of Nigeria? Where do you start in that conversation?
So both are valid, very conversation, and you raise a very important question. So as those in diaspora, there are two categories of people in the diaspora. Maybe minimum, there could be much more than that. Some people have the perception and perspective about Nigeria is different. And your perspective will determine what you can see. They say your vision determines your mission or something. So me, I'm a thoroughbred Nigerian, and I look at it in both directions. But let me address your questions very straight. Number one, as people in diaspora, the first thing we need to understand is we need to be able to connect the two ends. It is not just enough to connect by goods and services. It is also enough to connect with experience, exposure, technology exchange, value exchange, advancement, things that we've seen here that works, that can work where we are. So we're in winter right now, for instance, Canada, North America is shut down in winter. There are so many things that you can't do during winter. Nigeria is a tropical country. Weather is excellent from January 1st to December 31st. You can do almost everything. So now let's go to your question. Should I produce for local or should I take for export? At a point in Nigeria, if it takes you $3,000 to import a 40-foot container to Lagos port, it takes you less than $1,000 to export.
Send it back.
To send back, because when they're going back, they don't get filled up. And that is changing. That is changing now, because if you begin to look at what the way our products get to Europe, another part of the world, the trade deficit that we now have, trade surplus that Nigeria now have with the United States of America for 2 consecutive quarters, when you see most of what they bring to Nigeria used to be refined oil. With the advent of Dangote, now that is reduced, so
Yep.
other sectors are playing major roles. Agric is playing a major role and all of that. So not just oil and gas, because oil has been a major export before, but now there's a lot of development and growth happening in the agric sector. So that is also filling the gap. So now Nigeria has a population of 230 million, plus or minus, as at today.
Yep.
That's a huge population to deal with. Look at what comes to Nigeria from China. When we engage in local production, we have a ready market. What
That's
that
true.
does for us is it reduces our dependence on export, on importation.
Um,
And that builds our economy. That increases employment, reduces unemployment. Unemployment and insecurity, they are Siamese twins. When you reduce unemployment, you reduce insecurity. And there are so many things to do to reduce this importation. When we do this, we strengthen the currency because the demand for FX becomes reduced. And at the
that's
end of the
true.
day, we are flourishing, our nation is flourishing. So look at food, for instance.
Mm-mm.
The quantum of palm oil that still comes into Nigeria from Malaysia and other places, they comes in metric tons on a monthly basis.
Palm oil,
Palm oil. So
epo
you
pupa.
ask yourself, yes, palm oil coming to Nigeria. So only a few come, because when it comes, it's not the palm oil that we use to cook. Largely is used for industrial. Those who make detergents, those Unilever, PZ, and all of that, they use palm oil. Those who makes ororo, vegetable oil, they make palm oil, the power oil and all of that, lassis and
Yes.
all of that. They use palm oil. Power oil brings vessels of palm oil to Nigeria every month from Malaysia.
Wow.
And when you drop palm oil, almost anywhere in the southern part of Nigeria, you drop palm kernel, it grows. Okpe grows anywhere. The one I planted in my farm, 6 years, it started fruiting. 6 years, that's even the maximum. The last time I went to farm, just one tree has almost 10, a bunch of
Palm
on each
fruit.
of them. Yes, palm fruit on them, 10, 12 on them. That's a 9-year-old farm anyway. So we started from nowhere in 9 years. It was a fresh forest, that it was a fresh place that nobody has ever cultivated before. Then now by next year, now we're going to build our medium scale, medium mills, where we start processing palm oil for ourselves and for some farmers around us who are doing the traditional extraction. Then they can take it to our mills. Then we just charge them for processing, and that's done. We can take that either in money or in commodity or in produce. So there's a lot. So now those who produce industrial capacity, the process, the way it happens is there's a level of as alkalinity that is requested, that is required. I think the pH value they want.
Yeah.
So you want to achieve that pH value, there's a limitation between the time you harvest and you process. So by the time you harvest and process, I think there's a window of about 48 hours to process. So when you do that, you maintain the alkaline requirements
That's required
of the
legally.
of the product. So only few companies has capacity to do that. The Prescos, the Okomus, those are the ones that can do that train. And even most of them, at the peak of the season, they can run their train, their manufacturing train in full. At the lowest part of the season, because of the volume they have, it becomes low. When they run their production on their train, it's not as efficient because the power, the what is required to run it and what the
They
product
don't
are going
have
to get
enough.
at the end of the day does not commensurate. So it's not efficient. So there are very few that runs it, and there's demand. Everybody want to rural. Everybody use vegetable oil everywhere. Nobody cares where it comes from. So now they used to import the vegetable oil. Now most of the vegetable oils are made here, but the raw material to make it largely comes from palm oil, and they are not grown here. So when people are targeting, oh, I want to take, the reason why people are focusing on taking things abroad is the value of dollars. That's major incentive. Oh, I
Yeah.
want to earn in dollars. It's okay to earn in dollars. What if you focus on mitigating
To look.
the gap, and you earn your money cool cash? What about that? Tax is friendly. Tax is very, very friendly in Nigeria.
That's true.
So the environment is okay. So there's so many things you can do. It's a terrain that you understand. There's a lot that we can do. So we need to be able to domesticate whatever that we are learning in this place. See, no matter how big you get, you live in America now. They told
Yeah.
the richest man in the world to go back to South Africa.
That's true.
That's the richest man in the whole world, not in America. At the
Yeah.
point when he was disagreeing
And they
with us,
reminded him of his home.
they told him to go back to South Africa, that you are not from here. You should go
Mm-mm.
back to where you come from. So for me, that's an incentive to do backward integration, if you ask me. So it
Yeah.
depends on what we look. But what I'm saying is Nigeria is a large demography. There is always something to do, especially in a Greek value chain. The value chain is so large, you can decide to be the producer, to run a farm. You can decide to offtake from who is producing to process. You can do hand to hand. You can so many things that you can do. And I asked people, I said, you just need to understand. We don't value a lot of things in Nigeria. Tomorrow I can go to Lekki and open a canteen and start making pounded yam and ogunfe. People will eat.
Yep.
In Boston, how long will it take you to be able to open a canteen when you have to follow all the regulations to meet FDA and all of that, meet the city
And
standard?
all of the local licenses.
How the local licenses are going to take? Do you have those licenses to take the ease of doing business there? So we just need, yes, there are challenges there. Challenges leave it apart. In fact, with every challenges comes opportunity to strive. And people need to understand that success is success anywhere. Today, the richest black man in the world is Aliko Dangote.
That's true.
So LeBron James, all of them, Tyler Perry, they come right behind him. So there in America, Aliko is in Nigeria. And
Mm-mm.
yesterday, he said something yesterday at the IMO did an economic summit yesterday, and he said something that really, really fascinated me. He said Nigeria is like a scratch card. So you don't get to know what is inside until you
Until
scratch
you
the
scratch.
surface. He said, some of us, we have scratched it and we are enjoying it. And me, I understand that. So it's both way you want to look, but sometimes we kind of overlook the quantum of what is obtainable and what is available. I know there are challenges, funding gaps, and all of that. Yes. But when you're in diaspora, you should be able to figure out to connect, how to source what you need from this end to do what you need to achieve on the other end.
Okay.
That would be the whole purpose of going or coming this far.
Okay. Thank you so much. So, if I want to summarize what I think I got from that, you are saying producing in Nigeria is not just reducing, it's not just addressing the local consumption, it could also reduce how much we have to pay to import things. For example, with palm oil, you are
Yeah,
closing the gap of the foreign exchange gap
yeah,
if you are producing for local
yeah,
consumption.
it goes beyond return on investment. There are so many hidden returns that does not come to you, but that goes to the betterment of the society. You're reducing unemployment, you're fixing a lot of gaps, you're providing what people understand, what they trusted, what they know, what they are used to. You don't have to explain to them, oh, this is plantain chips, it's sourced from tropical rainforest. You know all
Yeah.
of these things. Then when you do all these products, you have to detail, connect it to the story. I don't discourage people who export. It's good. It's very good. But we must not forget that we can't overlook the quantum of gap that needed to be, because these gaps are being filled by the Asians, whether we like it or not. The Indians, the Malaysians, the Chinese, they're fixing this thing. Look at Indomie noodles. Those guys, they came to Nigeria when? Early 2000, if I'm right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know when I was in Jide Tower, we used to give all their top executive houses around Maryland. They were new, they were small. Look at Indomie noodles now. They are one of the biggest companies. In fact, it's a big export. They come here, but they feed the local market. So that's the idea. So don't just because a lot of people in diaspora just say, I want something I can export. I want something I can export. I want to earn in dollar. Is good, but there are also a lot of gap you can fill back home. I have a friend who is in the value chain. He's doing an amazingly. He's doing an amazing job is doing so well. Personally, is giving a lot of jobs. I think he should have close to 1,000 employee, maybe about 500 employee, over
Wow.
500 employee. He has about 6 factories. This business is less than 8 years old. It's less than 8 years. He's running multi-billion. He's running a multi-billion naira investment, and it's growing. Food value chain.
We've talked about the part of the people that are outside Nigeria. So for young chaps right out there in Nigeria today who are thinking, what are the low entry kind of business enterprises that I can go into? What would be like your top opportunities that you think? And I know that some of these opportunities are out there, but it's not everybody that has like maybe the social, the financial resources to like start a big factory manufacturing cars or manufacturing things. Where would you ask them to look to?
Start small, grow big. Start from what you have. Um, there's a lot we can actually do. When we're growing up in Nigeria, if you do not go to school, when I mean go to school, I mean go to higher institution, you go and learn a trade.
Yep,
If you do not learn a trade, you're likely going to farm. Those were three major options when we're growing up.
very true.
Now, now, a lot of people don't go to school. They don't learn trade.
It's
They will tell you they don't go to farm. They roam the street. When you ask them, they tell you there is no opportunity. But the problem that we have is because we fragmented some trade and we begin to say, if you do those jobs, you are on the bottom sprung of the society. The society look down on you. Here, you have people who are trade. They have boats.
that's
You have
right.
people who are trade. They ride luxury SUVs. But back home, people believe that if you are a tiler, you are likely to be uneducated. And that was how we focus on everybody going to the college, going to polytechnic and university, and neglected people
Let
going
the
to
trades.
technical colleges and people learning trade. When you go to technical college, they look down on you. As a matter of fact, they'll see you as an illiterate. But those are the skills that the West Coast are feeling. People from Ghana, Togo, Benin Republic are
Very
feeling.
true.
If you go to anybody's home and you see the tiles are laid straight line, good grouting, and you say, ṣé Kotonu ló lẹ kíní yìí fún ẹni?
That's true. Unfortunately,
Unfortunately, but you have your cousin who has graduated for 3 years without a job and he says he's searching for a job. Why are you searching for a job? Why can't you learn a trade? So the guy who installed marble for me, who installed worktop for me, earn more than what an average banker earn in Lagos. So why can't you look in that direction? So there are so many ways we are supposed to be looking that our people are not looking and they begin to say opportunities are not much. Opportunities are much, but the places we are focusing we are not focusing in the right direction. I just spoke about, I am from Ife. I live in Lagos. I live in Ife. You know the way we do everybody. You have
okay.
homes almost everywhere.
Yes.
Some people say it's wasteful. That's our culture. So, but when I go to Ife, I want to one day go to a place like I go to Amala Sky in Ibadan. So when I'm in Ibadan, you can go to Amala Sky, you can go to Iyokpe, you can go to Yadija to eat Amala and Ogunfe. And you see people park cars from beginning of the street to the end, especially at lunchtime. Then people will do hospitality and clinical from OAU. Some people will do hotel and catering from Federal Polytechnic. Then they will sit in their house. They will tell you there is nothing to do. My brother and my sister, that is not correct. Give me hot amala with freshly cut ogunfe, beata, ogunfe to muata. Just don't rent don't do me a fancy restaurant. I don't want to sit in a fast food environment. Just give me a small canteen that at least has fan that can blow me when sweat is coming out of my face. And I can tell you, people will leave their offices. They will send for you. They will come to you every time. So what I'm trying to say is that cut across. I just mentioned construction. I just mentioned opportunity in food. It's everywhere. We need to just identify what works and what is obtainable. You find yourself in a place, everybody complain. We can't get a good tailor. We can't get a good tailor. You can learn and start small. You can start from, I know somebody who started making dress for me as far back as 2005. He wasn't sewing and he was giving me good and solid dress. All he does is design. He does design. He does design, brings it to you, measure you, and goes. Brings you straight cuts. He has tailors in details. He go to Agarao, give tailor, go to Lagos Island, give them, tell them exactly what to do, give them the design, give them the measurement. He brings you your dress. He does not own a shop. He does not own anything. He's just in the middle, providing services where the gap exists. Our people need to understand where the gaps are and they need to fill in. Everybody will tell you, oh, money is the problem. Money is not the biggest problem. Our attitude to get things done is actually bigger than money. People do not want to work. A lot of people just want to feel it. Once I can call 2, 3 people, why do I need to stress myself? And they call you, Nigeria, Lagos, you. Yes, we understand that things are tough. No, you don't understand. These are so tough. I can't even do. Yes, we understand. But there's nothing compared to a productive mind.
Correct.
And we need to encourage our people to understand that they need to be able to look around and see what are the places. The opportunity is obtainable everywhere. It's not just about Lagos, not about Abuja. People are doing so many things. Look at Sheyi Vodi. Sheyi Vodi started as a small tailor. That guy has built one of the biggest fashion. I can say it's the biggest fashion empire in Nigeria as at today. But it's put a lot of hard work. And people say, I want to become. You need to walk the walk of Sheyi Vodi. It's not just one day that vice president are going there to take measurements. No, he started walking around. And you have to start with what you have, your potential, your creativity, your doggedness, your decision never to quit. Those are things that makes you, and it comes together by the time you grow older. And people will start saying, oh, Baba, hello, gone. The money didn't just come in a day. You worked for it.
It's cumulative.
Yeah. It's cumulative. It's a process. It's a process. But today, everybody just want to eat. They say, can't eat it. I feel blow. I just want to blow. How do you want to blow? Blow how?
Everybody just likes the sound of explosion. Blow.
Now I tell you ask them now, the one that is raining now, every time you say, what are you doing? I'm online. I'm doing my business is online. So I'm online. I say, what is I don't understand this thing. No, I'm doing social media marketing. No, I have a product I'm selling on. Yeah, it's okay. But that's not just enough. You need to go beyond. I know that's the way it's going. It's okay. But when a child is not brilliant, you said he has fine handwriting. What will he write with the fine handwriting?
Yeah, because you've got to have something good to market.
Of course, that you're pushing out. That's the way it is. Yes. So I don't understand.
That's very correct. Thank you so much. So what you're saying is that we need to look at the value chain and find the gaps, and those are the gaps that we have to strive to fill.
When you offer value, value will follow you. That's the point. And we can't just focus in one way. There are so many ways we can look at. That's I don't know. No, I don't want to try that. I'm not passionate about it. What? I used to I used to have a friend when I was in University of Abuja. He was say, so we're having a gist one day, and I said, "Oh, I said, I know, Ladi, I'm just waiting for a man that will put a ring on my finger. That will put a ring on my finger." I said, "Oh, you don't a man that will put a ring on your finger, you don't even want to cut and date." He said, "Oh, Ladi, is that what we are saying? Let him put a ring here. I will develop love for him." So,
Yeah.
so what I'm saying is, you can't restrict your passion. Passion is good, but when you
Mhm.
do things and it gives you moolah, you become
Then
passionate
passion will
about it.
come.
That's the way it is. That when people choose life partner, you kind of figure, is it going to work? So, but as you guys begin to grow up, it's you will start blending, then you begin to love more. That is where life is.
Yes, yeah.
So then, no, 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 I don't want to do that. I'm not passionate about it. You can develop passion. See, skill can be taught. You can develop skill. Attitude is what that is difficult to be
To
taught.
cultivate, yeah.
Yes, skill, you can develop skill. You can teach people skill. But
Yeah.
attitude, that's why they say where skill will not take you. Attitude is more important than that. So people will not say, no, 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 I don't want to do that. No, I know this, I don't want to do that. What is it you don't want to do? You look for opportunities. You look for where gap exists. Dangote started from sugar. Otadola was hawking diesel. Today is the chairman of First Bank. How? Put
That's
them
true.
together. He was hawking diesel. Hustling small companies. He will take 100 liters. She will take 1,000 liters from us. Then he started build. You can figure out whatever that happens to them, whether
I
by government
understand.
or whatever
Yeah.
it is in the middle. But they
But they
started
were busy.
somewhere. Yes, it's a process. Then Dangote moved sugar, rice, cement, became the largest cement producer. Chase Lafarge away, take market away from Lafarge. Lafarge was like
Yeah,
a king in the industry.
they were.
She ran Lafarge out of the industry. They are struggling. Lafarge is struggling. What are you saying? Became the biggest, not in Nigeria but in Africa. Moved from there, it didn't stop. Went to oil, producing 650, set up his 650 refinery capacity. Now he wants to double it, 1.2 or
Mhm.
1.3 million capacity per day. That's what he's doing. He's shifting the boundary. Now he's talking still. Now you say that they started somewhere,
Right.
small. Then you can begin to scale, you can begin to diversify, you can begin to spread based on every opportunity that you have observed. That's what I think. Well, so by and large, I'm a product of grace. A lot of things worked for me,
Yeah. So
even
there was
when
something that you said at the beginning,
I do not
when you
have
were
an
telling us
idea
about when you
that
went
it could
to
work.
Julius Berger.
Yeah.
You said
So,
that moment
but
was special for you.
God gives
Are
me
there other moments that you could say
um
that was God speaking to
privilege to
me
be
in your
courageous.
journey in the business world?
I take a lot of decisions that almost difficult for people to take, but I take them with ease, not because I figure it out, but because I believe with commitment, doggedness, God on my side, I'll figure it out. And at the end of the day, it's always like that. So I started what I do in 2007, that's 18 years. So I have so many time, so many occasions where I felt quite nostalgic about things that are happening or things that I've been able to do or things I've been able to put together when I look back at some decision that I took that I had no idea that it was
I'm going
going to
to end.
become what it is today. You just get there. I mean, I told you that the first day I went to where the factory is today, I mean, it's quite a lot of bush, like cashew everywhere. But when I got there, I knew this is it. It was, I mean, I was, when everybody was seeing cashew tree, palm tree, no, 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 no. What I was seeing in my head was very different. I just knew. So this, no. When we started the agri project, I mean, that was a very thick forest. That by the way, I run that in partnership with my older brother, who is a food scientist, and he's doing an incredible job, to be honest. So when we went there, it was a forest. Nobody was there. Nobody was close. So as a matter of fact, where they were sleeping, when they finish from farm, if they have to trek, they'll trek for like an hour and a half. But if they go on the bike, it
Wow.
takes them about 30 minutes because it's just a rough path. But after like a month or two, they kind of figure before they go in the morning and come back, everybody's tired. So they
Tired.
can't do something. So we just did a small farmhouse, very small. If I share the picture of that farmhouse for you, it will shock. If they tell you the person who lives in that place was a graduate, you will not believe it. It was in
Mm-mm.
deep forest. Okay, let me tell you, it was deep that we could not plant yam anywhere close. Do you know why?
Why?
Wild pig, eledegon were just like around the house. So you know the kind of environment where you see wild pig, where you see hog,
Yeah.
you know where you see them. Thick forest, that's where you see them.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
they were just like next door
Neighbors.
to yes. So, but today you see people are there who put farmhouse, one or two, three or four, five people. Now today that becomes like a conversation, not like a success. Oh, when we were doing it, nobody knew that cocoa was going to be sold for cocoa was going to be sold for um how much last year? Last year was about 11. It was it peaked at about 12,000 naira per kg.
Okay. Yeah. And that
That's
was
that's
like
that's what
well
you
over a
pay. That's
million
what
naira per
when I
ton.
was in School of Science, that's what they pay for 50 kg. What we sold for 1 kg, that's what you pay for like 50 kg. In fact,
That's true.
that's even you can't even get that from a 50 kg.
Yeah.
So what we used to get on a what we used to get per ton in those days when you have 100 or 50 kg today, you have it. So the thing is, but it takes you time to do that. When we're doing that, no one knew. Now to this year, it wasn't that much because supplies varies. Then also because unification of naira also worked in our
Yeah.
favor then because the commercial guys they buy it on official price, then they ship, then they bring the money back, so the money in black market.
And
So
black market and
yeah,
everything.
so many things, so many dynamics. But today it's a different thing. So many things. I just trust. It's God trusting sometimes because I know God got me.
Thank you. So it's been exciting speaking with you today. We really appreciate the time that you have taken to share with us and with our viewers. And today, everyone, once again, we had with us Ladi Awotinde, who is the CEO of the Florentia brand, the interiors,
Whatever,
the
Flourish everything.
Florentia, everything. So it's really exciting to have you today, and we thank you for sharing your wisdom, strategy, and inspirations to us. Thank you so much. It's been an exciting discussion.
Thank you so much, Ayobami. I'm very delighted to be here and I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate the strength and the courage you're putting into it. And I am so, so excited you're doing this. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.